I'm Rabia Ahmad. I'm Director and CEO Nutshell Group, and you'll have to tolerate me for the rest of the day as I'm the summit moderator. So, welcome to Peshawar, everybody, the land of the Pakhtuns. I was asking yesterday if it's Pashtuns or Pakhtuns, and there were different theories, so I decided to go with Pakhtuns. We know this is the capital of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. They say that Peshawar doesn't only host its guests, it embraces them. We are all familiar with the legendary hospitality of the Pakhtuns, of which we had a wonderful flavor, Atif bhai, last night. Thank you very, very much. And I don't think I've had this much meat in the past 6 months. But yes, Pakhtuns are a meat-eating people. So this hospitality is rooted in an unwritten code which is called the Pashtun Code of Honor, which I found out, which emphasizes independence, personal honor, looking after guests as if they're family. So everybody that's here this morning are enjoying the hospitality and warmth of this beautiful city, its beautiful people. On behalf of the co-hosts of the Pakistan Business Summit, Baraka Bank and Nutshell Group, I welcome all of you to the Pakistan Business Summit, which is the maiden business summit that we're holding in Peshawar. We have audiences joining us online as well, so welcome everybody. I would like to let you know that we are live on the Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn pages of Nutshell Group. Ladies and gentlemen, the program schedule is in the folders that have been placed on your seats, and you can also access the latest version through scanning the QR code. The hashtag that we're using, hashtags are very important these days, right? All of us know that. Hashtag Pakistan Business Summit, so please continue to tweet, talk about us, and let's start. So, there are a couple of guests of the inaugural session that are going to join us a little later, including the governor as well as the chairman Senate. But in the out of respect for everybody's time, we decided that we should start on time. Senator Dr. Musaddiq Malik could not join us today, unfortunately. He lost his paternal uncle yesterday, so he will not be joining. May Allah bless the deceased soul. Thank you very much to all the other guests that have joined us on stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know that Nutshell Group is in the business of curating conferences. We do it with our partners. We have our own flagship brands. So all in all, with the 8 editions of the Future Summit and the 8 editions of the Leaders in Islamabad, alhamdulillah, we have hosted more than 15,000 delegates from more than 45 countries so far, alhamdulillah. This is a new place. It's a new city for us. We jointly bring this summit to one of the oldest living cities in South Asia, from the historic Qila, Bala Hisar, to the bustling Qissa Khani Bazaar, from the iconic 𝗣𝗶𝘀𝘀𝗀 to the most popular Karkhano market, which all the women around here already know about. Peshawar offers a very rich mix of history, culture, trade, and cuisine. So, Peshawar, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, what are we all doing here? Why is the business summit being held in Peshawar? What prompted us? Azfar is going to elaborate on this in a lot of detail, but we all know this is a province rich in natural resources. It accounts for nearly 1/3 of the country's hydropower potential. It's absolutely rich in tourism, contributes to the local, country's GDP. It also has a youthful and entrepreneurial population, so it's becoming a growing hub for digital businesses. And it is a province and a city that is a strategic node for cross-border trade. It is said that if Pakistan is the bridge between Central Asia and South Asia, then Peshawar is at the very heart of the bridge. So what better venue than Peshawar to gather the movers and shakers from the corporate and business sectors, academia, federal government, the provincial governments. So Peshawar, thank you for hosting us. And I just learned from my volunteer this morning, Peshawar Staso Dera Manana. So a big round of applause for Peshawar for being our hosts. We'll also be talking a lot about the theme for today's conference. It's very relevant and very apt, considering where we're sitting right now, as well as some factors which all of you are already aware of. We all follow geopolitics, the changing scenario in the world, and we all know that the power shift is definitely, undisputedly towards Asia now. We're also very strategically positioned. I think we've all been talking about it for decades. The advent of technology, it's reshaping the way we interact, the way we think, the way we work. We also know about our significant youth bulge and how, we want to transform this strength, capitalize on this strength. But there are also a number of challenges which we are all aware of. So considering how the global geopolitics is shifting, considering the realignment that's necessary, I think it is very important for us to collectively chalk out a roadmap for us, where we are capitalizing on our strengths, grabbing all the opportunities, and shaping what's next. So given this topic, this theme, there are actually so many topics that we should be discussing, and we could be here for 5 days. But this conference is bringing together some very important, thought-provoking areas that we'll be discussing today. We'll be talking about how ecosystems are cultivated and fostering growth. We will be talking about climate and sustainability, how to build resilient businesses, how workplaces have to be adapted to accommodate and to nurture the new breed of workers, how technology is changing, transforming our world, and then a deep dive into Pakistan's economy and how the business climate is evolving in the regional and global context, and how it is imperative for us to realign ourselves and move forward. So here we are, everybody, looking forward to an electrifying set of conversations, inspirational addresses, disruptive ideas. Very happy to have all of you here. I would, before we actually go into the inaugural session, I'm going to thank our partners. Without their help and support, and without their faith and belief that this new destination will really work and we'll be able to take the Pakistan Business Summit from the first edition to the second and third and so on, our co-hosts, Baraka Bank and Nutshell Group, are very, very grateful to our partners, knowledge partners, Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan, ICAP, Gold partners, Faisal Bank Limited, National Bank of Pakistan. Other partners include Dubai Islamic Bank, Bank of Khyber, State Life Insurance Corporation of Pakistan. Our strategic partners have always been OICCI and Corporate Pakistan Group. Academic partners, ACCA, again, long-standing, always been standing by us. And our sustainability partners, Spectrico. So please give a round of applause for all our partners and our sponsors. Thank you. So we have more than 35 speakers joining us today. Like I said, people have driven in, people have flown in. Some of you are natives to this great land. So we are honored to have all of you with us. Again, a round of applause for our speakers that are going to be giving many thought-provoking ideas to all of us today. Have you had breakfast? We can do better. Thank you. Right, so we cannot move forward without acknowledging all of you, the audiences. As soon as we announced the Pakistan Business Summit, there was a surprisingly overwhelming response. People, encouraging us and praising the co-hosts for bringing this summit to Peshawar and also asking for invites. So we're grateful to have a very eager, enthusiastic audience, not to forget all the audiences that have joined us online. So you're well within your rights. One more time, let's hear it for you, our audiences. Okay, so now we're going to formally begin the inaugural session. We will now be starting with welcome remarks by our co-host, Mohammad Atif Hanif. He's the CEO of Baraka Bank, Pakistan Limited. Atif Saab is, in addition to being an absolutely wonderful host, he is a seasoned banker. He has more than 2 decades of banking experience, a lot of it with Islamic banks. He has diverse banking experience in retail and corporate banking. He has also got experience of capital markets. In addition to serving as group head Islamic banking in the Bank of Khyber, he also has served on various boards, including the KP Pension and Provident Fund, and as a nominee director for Bank of Khyber on the board of Taurus Securities Private Limited. He's been part of the Provincial Government Committee tasked to form industrial policy in 2021 for the province of KP. He has been a founding member of Pakistan-China Institute, which is a non-governmental, non-political think tank aimed at strengthening ties between the two countries. With this, I'd like to request Atif Saab to please come and share his welcome remarks with us.
I would like to recognize and acknowledge His Excellency Syed Yusuf Raza Gilani Sahab, Chairman Senate of Pakistan, Mr. Muhammad Ali, Federal Minister of Privatisation, Mr. Faisal Karim Kundi Sahab, Governor Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, His Excellency Senator Muhammad Aurangzeb Sahab, Federal Minister for Finance and Revenue, Mr. Azfar Ahsan Sahab, Founder and Chairman Nutshell Group, Pakistan's former Minister for Investment, Mr. Kaan, Terzioglu, Group Chief Executive Officer of VEON, and my fellow colleague bankers, Mr. Mohammad Nasir Salim Saab, President and CEO of HBL, Mr. 𝗣𝗸𝗀𝘀𝘁 Hisni Saab, President and CEO of National Bank of Pakistan, Mr. Muhammad Ali Gul Faraz, CEO Dubai Islamic Bank, Mr. Hassan Raza Saab, Chief Executive Officer Bank of Khyber, Mr. Amir Ibrahim, CEO President Jazz, and Mr. Janzeb Khan, President and CEO Easy Paisa. Also Mr. 𝗣𝗸𝗶𝘀𝘀𝘁 MD and CEO of 𝗣𝗎𝗎 Fertilizers. All CEOs and speakers and guests visiting from outside KP. I also like to welcome business community and government officials and all distinguished guests from Peshawar and other parts of KP, especially newly elected President of Sarhad Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Junaid Altaf and Haji Nadeem Rauf Saab. I'd just like to mention that KP is the only province where there is a Chamber of Commerce for the whole province. Unlike other places where there are Chamber of Commerce of cities, Sarhad Chamber of Commerce represents the chambers of all the cities of the province. Especially like to mention the legends from KP who in their own fields have not only served and achieved highest levels of professional achievements, but also served the country and earned great name and honor for Pakistan in international community. First of all, Professor Dr. Muhammad Rahman Saab, who is a legend. And thank you, Rahman Saab, that you have honored us by your presence. I would just like to mention that Dr. Rahman Saab needs no introduction. He has introduced open heart surgery in early 1970s from a hospital, OMI Karachi. And after serving, I think, more than 2 decades in Karachi, he decided to move to his home province and establish Rahman Medical Institute, which was not just the highest level of healthcare system, but it laid the foundation of medical tourism in Pakistan. And with the success of Rahman Medical Institute, now there are a cluster of 8 private hospitals in half-kilometer radius, which basically serves not only KP, but whole of Afghanistan. Recently, in a medical tourism conference which we sponsored in collaboration with Islamic Chamber of Commerce and Development in Karachi, the Lieutenant General Saab representing SIFC mentioned that under medical tourism, the highest number of visas issued last year were 245,000, and they were from Afghanistan. And second was Bangladesh with 145 visas. So the entire medical tourism, 99.99% is Afghanistan, and this is just the visas, medical tourism visa. We know that 3 times larger number are served, Afghans are served under their normal visas. So there's at least 1 million Afghans which are being served mainly in Peshawar, but also in some hospitals in Islamabad. So the medical tourism, if there is any in Pakistan, it is because of Dr. Rahman Saab and his students who have later on established hospitals in surroundings. Dr. Abdul Bari Khan Saab, he needs no introduction, the founder and president of Indus Hospital. He is from Peshawar, very native of Peshawar, and his family is actually also Sethi. So last night when we were in the Sethi Mahalla, it was like his home. So, Bari Sahab, you are a legend. You are an honor for Peshawar and Pakistan. You run the largest healthcare welfare system, one of the largest healthcare welfare system in the world. And people trust you like anything. I think you are today's Satar Eidi of Pakistan. Another great legend of Pakistan is Jahangir Khan Sahab, who is present here. He needs absolutely no introduction. He lives in hearts of every Pakistani. And last night we were at the Sethi house, we were talking about the squash and the history of squash from Jahangir Sahab in Peshawar. That was very rare. And some 20 of us were having, a very rare experience of learning about from his uncle, who was the first British Open champion from Pakistan in 50s, and how this evolved over the year. But that history was being narrated by Jahangir Sahab in Peshawar. That was very special for all of us. And Pakistan has produced many sports champions. But what is very special about Jahangir Sahab, you, is that the kind of standard that you have maintained all your life, spotless, highest integrity and professionalism, and it is being rewarded until now. You left squash, I think, 30 years ago, but even now you have been selected by UN as among the top athletes of last 1,000 years. So I especially like to thank Jahangir Sahab and Bari Sahab for traveling from Karachi all the way for this occasion. I will also like to mention the great business leaders of KP, my elders and my first banking relationships of my career, Haji Mohammad Asif Sahab, Chairman Ashraf Group of Industries, Senator Mohsin Aziz Sahab, Chairman of Aziz Group of Industries, Jamshed Sawal Sahab, my first customer in life, even before banking, when I was in capital market. And thank you for being here. Mr. Noman Wazir Sahab, not only my first customer and a great businessman that KP has produced, but my mentor, and especially my mentor in long distance swimming. So I've seen you swim my whole life, 1 kilometer non-stop. And I finally decided at the age of 50 to do it, and I'm glad that I'm catching up. And Salim Saifullah Sahab, a legend, and your family contribution to the industry, to the business of this province and the country is unmatchable. And thank you for coming all the way from Islamabad. I'll just like to mention that Nutshell has been doing a great work, great service by engaging the top leadership of government and business community in a dialogue for decades now for the growth and progress of the country overall. And this step of coming out of Lahore, Karachi and Islamabad and choosing Peshawar as first time outside these three large cities is a bold decision, but it is very much required for Pakistan because financial inclusion, economic inclusion is not only required for KP and the overall economy, but the true potential of Pakistan cannot be achieved unless there is a complete engagement of all segments and geographies of the country. The talent of KP, the resources, the potential, the entrepreneurship capabilities of KP, that needs to be brought to the mainstream of Pakistan's capital and financial and business segments. And it is no surprise, we all know what KP possesses. I think the largest share of the home remittances, which is $38 billion through banking sector and another about $20 billion from Hundi, the largest share is coming into KP because of the labor that the KP has provided to the Middle East and in this region. That is in itself a very big signal of what the capability and the potential of this economy is. Number two, the mineral resources, the carriage and transport. I think more than 50% of carriage and transport of the country is being run by and owned by the people of KP. Likewise, the tourism sector, it is no match. The tourism of Pakistan has exploded, and it is mainly confined to the north of Pakistan, which KP and Gilgit-Baltistan and KP province. So this is something which KP is doing very well. But although there is a lot of potential in this area. But the last but not the least is the explosion of IT sector and the IT resources that the KP is providing. And there are success stories coming. We hear all the time about young girls and boys who are making $10,000 and $15,000 a month, in Peshawar and in the villages surrounding Peshawar by doing e-commerce and outsourcing and all those services. I would like to mention that the business community of KP is very resilient. In 2008 and 9, when there was a complete chaos, there was a blast every single day. And the only new news would be that how many people died. So it was either 50, 100, 70, and investors were fleeing from Peshawar with their families and investments. They were buying houses or shifting to Islamabad and Lahore. Factories were being closed. But astonishingly, there was not a single litigation that came out of that crisis. Everyone honored their banking obligations, despite the fact that industries had to be closed for months and months. So there was no defaults. I can give example of this one industrial estate alone, which is Peshawar Industrial Estate, and most of the businessmen sitting here, they have industries there. There was not a single default in those industries. And right now, what has happened is that they have learned from that lesson, and they have learned to grow their industries with their own equity. So this is a very resilient sort of business community of KP, which continues to grow. If you move around Peshawar, last night I had an opportunity to show some side of Peshawar to some of the guests who were already here. But if you move around Peshawar and KP, you find so much vibrancy and so much innovation going on in different fields and in different areas. I came to know from somebody that the most expensive dry fruit in the world is pine nut chalgoza. It is all being produced from the Pakistan's tribal area, and it is being exported to China. And there is a complete value chain which is working on in this line. So there's a lot of hidden things in KP. So I will request my visitors and guests from outside Peshawar to please study Peshawar and see what KP and what is happening. Senator Mohsen Aziz, Assalamu alaikum. I just acknowledged before you arrived. So there's a lot happening here, and that needs to be studied, and it's continuously evolving. Whatever Peshawar or KP was 2 years ago, it's not anymore. It's probably one of the fastest growing societies and economies in Pakistan. Second, I will just like to mention about Al-Baraka Bank. Al-Baraka Bank is part of the Dalla Group of Saudi Arabia. They have 260 companies. One of them happened to be Al-Baraka Banking Group. We are in 13 countries. As a turnaround journey which started 2 years ago, we came up with an innovative idea of connecting Pakistani exporters with the importers of our other subsidiary countries through webinars and trade finance portal, which turned out to be a very big success. And we recently, and this is now being adopted by our entire group, and all the subsidiaries are doing among themselves. And this innovation came from Pakistan. And recently, our IT head got an award in Egypt for the first bank in the world to have a trade finance portal for the customers among their different jurisdictions. Our group also happens to have Islamic Chamber of Commerce and Development, which was founded in 1979 by our founder of the group, Sheikh Saleh Kamil. And the Islamic Chamber of Commerce comprises of Chamber of Commerces of 57 countries. They're very active now in Pakistan. They had, on persuasion of Ziaul Haq Sahab in 1970s, the headquarters of Islamic Chamber of Commerce and Development was established in Karachi. They come to Karachi every 3 months, and they were not doing anything in Pakistan, but they were doing everything in 57 countries from Morocco to Indonesia. Now we have ensured that their calendar is most busiest in Pakistan, and we sponsor all their activities. So one of the very important subject the Islamic Chamber of Commerce and Development promotes the Senator Aurangzeb, I would like to especially mention, it is the halal economy, global halal economy. And their flagship event is Makkah Halal Conference. After attending this conference, I've come to know that halal comprises of 4 things. Number 1 is halal protein. Its global consumption is $1 trillion per year. The highest export is Brazil, $10 billion per year. Second is Australia. Third, Indonesia. Fourth, India, $4 billion. And Pakistan is $500 million. Second is halal cosmetics and halal pharmaceutical. It's $250 billion trade, and our contribution is 0. Third is halal tourism. Now, worldwide, there is halal hotel and resorts certified. When Google, these halal tourists are now spending $250 billion a year. Pakistan, everything is halal, but not a single hotel or resort is certified halal. So my request to, when Governor Sahib arrives, my request would be to hold a halal tourism moot in KP, so that KP can have the first halal hotel and resorts of Pakistan, because right now the tourism is basically Pakistanis and expat Pakistanis, and they're doing it on their own halal risk. The actual halal tourist only goes to the hotels which are certified halal. Even Bangkok, all 5-star hotels are today halal certified. But in Pakistan, there is not a single one. And this can start from KP and then spread to the north. And that is how we can multiply the tourism of Pakistan. And last but not the least is the halal fashion. Halal fashion is a low-hanging fruit. It's $400 billion a year, and we are not contributing anything to this. It's halal, it's abaya, it's aram, it's namaz ki topi, it's scarf, and it's $400 billion. Our entire textile export is $20 billion. Hassan Iqbal Sahab, when he presented his Uran Pakistan, and when he mentioned that the next target is to achieve $50 billion export and then $100 billion. So when we were given opportunity to share views, I requested that if Pakistan can align itself with the halal global economy, only halal fashion, 5% of halal fashion is $20 billion. And if we target that for 5 years, that will double the textile sector in 5 years. And the biggest halal market right now is Afghanistan, is next door. Whatever they need for their halal fashion, whatever it is, it should be produced in KP. So this is the low-hanging fruit, the nearest market, and they are importing their very basic halal fashion requirements from other countries. So with this, I would like to once again thank everyone, and thank you for giving me some extra minutes. And I hope that this event will not be one-off. Inshallah, it will happen every year, and KP will benefit from this, and Pakistan will benefit from this. Thank you.
So thank you very much for sharing some very interesting insights. I had mentioned a few of the potentials of KPK, but you've enlightened us with some more. There's one more part of the puzzle, which is, of course, the talent pool, the source of all the expertise that we get, which is the educational institutions, the universities. So KPK has more than 40 universities, and they have engineering and technology, medical sciences, agriculture. So I think this particular section of the economy also has to be very well integrated with the businesses that are operating in KPK. So after this, we're going to move to our next speaker, who will be delivering the international keynote address. It is somebody who has been a friend and a supporter and a very regular visitor, a very regular participant and a partner at our conferences. I asked him about the pronunciation of his surname because I hate to mispronounce names, but I think I may have forgotten, so I'm going to give it a try. He told me that the Z is silent, so it is Mr. Kaan Terzioglu. Okay, so he has been with VEON since January 2021 as CEO. Prior to being appointed as the group CEO, he has been with the same organization as group co-CEO, group co-COO, and board director. He's also a board member of GSMA and the GSMA Foundation, and he serves on the board of Digicel. Prior to joining VEON, he has held regional and global leadership roles in management consulting, technology, and telecom with Arthur Andersen, Cisco, and Turkcell in Belgium, US, and Turkey. In 2019, he also received GSMA's Outstanding Contribution to the Industry Award for his leadership in creating a digital transformation model for the telecom industry and for his contributions to socially responsible businesses in telecom. With this, I'd like to request Mr. Kaan Terzioglu to please deliver his keynote.
Dear distinguished guests, I think there was a fantastic introduction of all the important figures in this room. I'm not going to repeat that, but I feel privileged to be part of these discussions because I think my dear brother Azfar, when he invited me, I immediately accepted it because I think it gives a very, very strong message, signal that the last 2.5 years of success story of Pakistan is not limited to one part of this country, but it is everywhere. And this grassroots movements in terms of being relevant to the global economy and contributing to the digitalization of Pakistan, the prosperity building in Pakistan happens everywhere. When I told a couple of business contacts that I had in Pakistan and outside of Pakistan, Pakistanis living in Dubai, in UK, that I was going to visit Peshawar, I noticed something very interesting. Everybody said, oh, I was born there. I went to university there. I was part of the military service there. And I felt this incredible pride of being from Peshawar, knowing Peshawar, being a part of this community. It tells a lot about the city. And I would like to thank also the governors of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa for leading this transformation. You know, I hate one word, foreign, because we are not foreign in Pakistan. Yes, we are international investors, but I am from Turkey, and when I come to Pakistan, I feel always at home. And we do not make our decisions, investment decisions, based on what happens 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. We look to a market from a long-term perspective. We have been an investor in Pakistan for the last 30 years, and we are going to be an investor in Pakistan for the next 30. It's not the 250 million Pakistanis that excites us. It's the 400 million strong Pakistan in 2050 that will define this market. For the ones who may be foreign to VEON, we are one of the largest global telecommunications groups in the world. We operate in 5 countries: Ukraine, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan. In these countries, 500 million people lives. 1 out of 3, 165 million, is our communication services customers. 1 out of 4, 130 million, is our digital service customers. Some of them uses our digital banks. Some of them enjoys our entertainment platforms like Tamasha. Some of them are our customers of healthcare services or enterprise services. And I'm so proud that Pakistan is the biggest market that we operate in. It's not an afterthought, it's not a peripheral market, it is not, something that, oh, maybe it comes to our minds once in a quarter. No, every single day we wake up, we think about Pakistan, and when Pakistan is successful, we are successful. When Pakistan has a problem, we have a problem. And that's why it is a priority for me to come to Pakistan and visit every single city to understand the potential better. We serve 75 million people with our communication services, and over 100 million people in Pakistan with our digital services. I'm so proud to be not only be a telecom company, but a consumer and enterprise service company which touches people with financial services, with entertainment services. And you will see with the adoption of augmented intelligence and digitalization of Pakistan, bringing 250 million Pakistanis the best healthcare service, education service, cloud service, to make sure that this country can be a growing driver of the regional growth. I would like to also highlight one important thing. I'm really impressed with the last 2.5 years. Economic, political stability on one side, specific leadership from Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif in terms of leading the digitalization efforts of the country, taking it personally from a cashless enterprise and cashless economy initiatives. These actually shows how important it is for Pakistan to be a digital country where everybody contributes to the economy, where access to information, access to knowledge, access to education becomes part of every Pakistani's future. In Pakistan, we transact 11% of the Pakistani GDP through our JazzCash platform. Why it is important? We have to expand the tax base in Pakistan. Minister Aurangzeb is doing a fantastic job in putting the credibility back into Pakistan in the international community. But the reality is we are still struggling with 10% of taxes compared to the GDP. Now my industry, telecommunications industry, is taxed at 69%. And the digitalization will allow every business to participate in the digital economy. And I think the cashless economy initiative in Pakistan is one of the best in the entire world. Maybe it might be a little bit late in the timing, but I think the speed of transformation there is remarkable. There was a very important comment. This region is a major exporter in Pakistan. A significant portion of remittances are coming here. In the future, augmented intelligence and our ability to augment competences, skills, capabilities, abilities of human beings, Pakistanis, is going to be critical. And I truly believe that digitalization of Pakistan and investments in local language models for the languages which are spoken in Pakistan, which will be extremely important. That's why we are working on an Urdu LLM as we speak to make sure that the Pakistanis can, in their local language, actually access the most advanced technologies. And healthcare services can be provided at a fraction of a cost. Education services can be provided at a fraction of a cost for every single Pakistani. Our business clearly depends on connectivity. When people are connected, new opportunities arise. And I would like to also mention that the stability and security ensures uninterrupted connectivity for everyone. In Pakistan today, although we are improving, still close to 29 days every single year, we have outages of internet access. And I think it is a duty for us, an important responsibility on our shoulders to make sure that internet is always on and internet is always secure and ensuring safety of citizens. And we will do our job to make sure that that happens. While we look into the future, I think it is important to see that our company, as an international investor, will continue investing in Pakistan. You will see us more active, investing more in the areas of financial services, insurance business, healthcare services, education services, cloud services, system integration, technological development, and software development. You may be seeing actually our companies and brands, not only Jazz, but JazzCash, Tamasha, and our new insurance platform, Fikr-Free, Simosa, super apps. In the future, ride-hailing services, everything that the consumers need, we will be very, very happy to provide those. Pakistan is not only a successful business for us, but it is also a pioneering business when I look into our efforts in other countries. And it is a great honor to be in a position to be allowed to serve this fantastic country and fantastic people. Thank you very much for inviting me here today and listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kaan. You are indeed a friend of Pakistan, a friend for the economy, the business. So VEON Group has been working in Pakistan since 2010, and their contributions and the impact they've had has been tremendous, from telecommunications and digital infrastructure to financial inclusion, investment in capital flow. They've had a tremendous impact on the digital economy and social impact, and we've all seen them grow, and Godspeed. We hope that you will continue to partner with Pakistan and Pakistani organizations and the government for more success, inshallah. So now we move to our next address, which is a special address by the Federal Minister for Privatisation, Mr. Muhammad Ali. He brings a wealth of experience from his very diverse career spanning the corporate, financial and public sectors. He's a seasoned business leader and policy maker. He's previously served as advisor to the Prime Minister on privatization, special assistant to the Prime Minister on power, and the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan. He is also the founder of several companies in Pakistan. Some of them include Inbox Business Technologies, Converge Technologies, Alexa Securities, and Al-Shahir Corporation. His entrepreneurial journey extends beyond Pakistan, as he's also worked in the US, Canada, and UAE, establishing companies across these regions. In addition to his public and corporate roles, he's held advisory positions in leading Pakistani companies and government bodies. His extensive experience makes him a key figure in shaping Pakistan's economic and energy policies. With this, I'd like to request you, sir, to please share your thoughts with us.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Excellencies, my distinguished cabinet colleague, Honorable Finance Minister, who has the economy by the forelocks and has tamed the bull finally, mashallah. Mr. Kaan, a global leader who has shaped industries across various countries, including the telecom sector and financial inclusion in Pakistan. Azfar Ahsan and the Nutshells team, which puts in countless hours every month, I guess, in bringing us together to have meaningful conversations. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Keeping in perspective today's conference's topic, Shaping What's Next, I would like to focus on three themes. First, the world is moving on the tide of change with waves of technology and innovation, which Mr. Kaan touched upon also. These waves are shaping everything around us. Second, how Pakistan remains anchored, unfortunately, with flawed systems, survival habits, and missed opportunities in this change which is going around us. And third, how can we use reforms, restructuring, and competition to catch that tide and move forward with the world and not be left behind. So I've kept my talk today around the theme which Azfar and his team have chosen, and I'll try to address my mandate in the government today, which is the privatization. But before we begin, we need to see how humans are living today and how that will be unrecognizable in the next 20 or 30 years. Ladies and gentlemen, cars that we drive today may no longer need drivers, probably not even roads. Agriculture will produce more food with fewer hands, and it will be powered by genetics and precision farming. It's already happening. Robots will no longer be just machines. They will be our co-workers. We are already seeing robots will be our co-workers. And they will be in our factories, in hospitals, in our homes. Wars will not only be fought on land, sea and air, but with the help of cyberspace and biosciences. Advances in technology are extending human lives. And within the lifetime of some of the younger audience here, human footprint may touch other planets. This is not a distant century away. It is only one generation ahead, because the pace of change is breathtaking. Already artificial intelligence, biosciences, quantum computing are not distant dreams. They are already present realities, and they are powering the wealth creation today. And in this not too distant a future, where do we fit in? Where does Pakistan fit in? The reality I have just outlined and the future I've just shared, I don't think it is unbelievable. It probably was unbelievable 20 or 30 years ago. But today, the technological advancement we all are seeing may not be in our country, but in the region, in China, in US, in Europe, this reality will exist in the next 2 or 3 decades. And how do we fit in? Will Pakistan design AI systems which will power the world? Will Pakistan produce the robots that will work across different continents? Will we create the medicines that will extend human lives? Will we be doing this? Or will we only be the users of this? That's what we need to ask. Because if we are not part of these creations, we will just be a small back office to the world as history passes us by. And that is what we need to talk about today, if we want to shape what is next. Now, before we talk about the future that we will be able to create, I think it's important to take stock of our current realities. We are blessed with a large population, 240 million people, mashallah, but our illiteracy rate is extremely high. Our women, which are half our population, they remain largely outside the workforce. Our workers, and mashallah from this region, we send a number of workers to the Middle East, but a large percentage of that workforce lacks the certification which the global markets demand. We are still struggling with electricity and energy crisis. Our agriculture is rich in potential, but poor in technology. Our textile sector, proud as it is, but it cannot alone carry the burden of the economy of the future. For too long, we have lived in a survival mode. International support kept us afloat. Subsidies kept loss-making enterprises alive. And actually, we substituted hope for hard reforms. And in my job today, when people ask me, why hasn't Pakistan privatized in the last 20 years, despite every government consistently talking about privatization, what do I tell them? I mean, I'm speechless at times. And the only answer I have is that we substituted hope for hard reforms. We continued thinking and hoping that if we continue to support our SOEs and try to improve their governance and try to give them our scarce public funds, they will improve. But frankly, they haven't. And every year, we are using roughly $4 billion of our scarce public resources to keep them alive and to keep them going. Fortunately today, with very strong support from the Prime Minister, from the government, and especially from our Finance Minister, who has been providing us tremendous and consistent support, we are going ahead with a very active and aggressive privatization program. For this region, from this region rather, we will be offering soon, inshallah, next year, 2 electricity companies, PESCO and HAZICO, Peshawar and Hazara Electricity Supply Corporation, and I hope to see investors from this region participate in that. But coming back to the theme of today, as we hesitated to take difficult decisions in the past, and as we hesitated to come up with an original thought, others advanced by investing, by exporting, and by innovating. So despite knowing all along, and we knew it all along, that the economies built on brain power, on science, on technology, on innovation are the ones which will thrive, we refused to focus on these with a single-minded focus which was required. So ladies and gentlemen, the time for drift is over for Pakistan, and we have reached a point where we need to choose a very clear path. The silver lining is We are not a failed people. We are not a failed nation. We are not corrupt by nature. We are not incompetent by birth. We are not. We are a generous, hardworking, resilient nation. And it is obvious in the region that we are sitting today from the achievements of this region, which was highlighted by the earlier speakers. So the problem is not the people. So what is the problem? The problem is our systems and structures. Our economic, bureaucratic, judicial, planning, decision-making processes and structures and systems are suffocating our potential, and this is what I want to focus on today. As the poet Rumi said, why do you stay in prison when the door is wide open? Why do you stay in prison? Who would stay in prison when the door is wide open? We are staying in the prison, which is our existing system, and the wide open door is the door to reform. So when the choice is so clear, let's make the right choice. Unless we change, unless we reform, unless we shape our structures and systems with the changing realities of the future, we will not succeed in shaping what is next, the theme that Azfar and his team have chosen for today. So where do we begin? Now, I know very well that whatever I've just said in terms of achieving and doing is easier said than done. But frankly, we have no choice. We have to do it. Where do we begin? Now, there are a number of avenues from where one can begin. I can give you my recommendation. I believe that one of the ways where we can begin, which will have a far-reaching impact, is by creating a market-based economy. By having the clarity that we need to do away with excessive regulation, we need to do away with excessive government footprint in businesses, and we need to do away with stifling the creativity of 240 million people. I'm sure there are other ways where one can begin, but I will share with you why I believe that a market-based economy is the one which will give us an edge over a number of other possible avenues to begin. Markets are the best determinant of efficiency. Inefficient players cannot be protected forever. They just cannot be. That's the rule of the market. That's how it works. Competition forces them to either adapt or exit. Wealth creation must come first. Mr. Kaan touched upon tax to GDP ratio, and I'm sure that's one of the challenges which our Honorable Finance Minister faces on a daily basis. And he, mashallah, today is the force which is helping us, the government members, the cabinet members, to keep going with the reform agenda that we're trying to pursue, because wealth creation must come first. And as economies grow, institutions will strengthen. It cannot be the other way around. If we wait to perfect institutions before competition is brought in, we will wait forever. It just cannot happen. Growth, competition, and innovation create the very pressure that forces institutions to reform and inefficiencies to disappear. And this is the cycle that we must embrace. Competition leading to growth, growth leading to wealth creation is strengthening institutions, and stronger institutions eliminating inefficiency. And this can only be achieved through a market-based economy instead of a regulated one. I would like to share with you a quote by Charlie Munger, late Charlie Munger, partner of Warren Buffett, and together they created a $700 billion empire. And he used to say, all I want to know is where I'm going to die, and I will not go there. It's so simple, right? If we know where we're going to die, we will not go there. And that's the law of inversion, knowing what not to do. And for Pakistan, what not to do is very clear. We must not keep propping up loss-making state-owned businesses. We must stop doing that. We must not let policies shift like sand and leave investors keep guessing. We must not tolerate inefficiency, corruption, or ad hocism. And we must not let our women and youth out of the economy. We must not do any of these. And markets and competition will help us get rid of these ills and avoid doing where we will hurt our own progress. Now, what's the first step? The first step, I believe, in creating efficient markets is for us to figure out once and for all what is the role of different players? What is the role of the public sector and what is the role of the private sector? Governments and states, were they formed to do businesses? Did humans thousands of years ago create governments and elected people to do businesses? No. Governments and states were not formed to do businesses. They were formed to regulate. They were formed to enable, and they were formed to protect. The private sector is there to innovate, to compete, and to create wealth. And private sector is the engine which will help us create markets. And when private sector is creating markets, it will help our policymakers come out of businesses and focus on their real job, the policy making. And when that is done, only then we'll be able to focus on creating the right systems and structures and eventually achieve higher productivity, achieve higher employment, and achieve a merit-based society with a culture that rewards merit and not connections. And this is what we are doing today. Privatization is an important element in this journey, in this initiative, in this dream. And privatization, let me share with you, ladies and gentlemen, is not just about selling assets. It's about liberating the economy. How? It is about deregulation. It is about building the right policy. It is about building strong regulators. And it is about transparent governance. But privatization allows us to sell what we already have. What about the one which is not there? What about the ones which is not already built? That's where the public-private partnership comes in. And I want to take this opportunity to touch upon this because in our country, there is a lot which needs to be built. And we can only do it through public-private partnerships. Around the world, governments have given land and incentives to the private sector. Governments have partnered with the private sectors to create factories, to create schools, to create infrastructure, to create hospitals, and to create a number of other assets together through a public-private partnership model. And the state then shares with them in the revenue or the profits and follows build, own, operate, transfer models. So there are models around the world already established that we need to take advantage of. So we need to use privatization and public-private partnership models to achieve our broader objective of reforming and changing our structure and system. Now, before I conclude, I would like to emphasize the fact and the reality that the world will go through a reshaping of its future. It already is going through it. Pakistan has to ask whether we want to be a part of that future or we want to be left behind. Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. It doesn't happen. And that is exactly what we have done for the last many decades. Tactical fixes without structural and systemic changes. Now, if we want to continue and if we decide to continue remaining in a chaotic, action-oriented policy-making world, and not focus, we will continue to focus on minor improvisation. And if we want to focus on major changes, we will need to spend time in planning and reforming our systems and structures, which outlast individuals and which prevent problems before they arise. And if we don't do that, we will continue to play the catching up game, the game that we have played for the last many decades. So, let us take the first step towards shaping our future, towards shaping what is next, by building a society and an economy that unleashes competition, that trusts markets, and that frees creativity from excessive controls. Only then Pakistan will be able to move beyond being a back office to the world and instead will become a workshop of innovation, a hub of talent, and a nation that does not just survive change, but shapes it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Muhammad Ali Sahib. So Pakistan has had a number of successfully privatized companies in the banking sector, in the power sector, in the cement sector, and we're all witnessing the efforts made by yourself and your team in the privatization of some important state-owned discos, gencos, some in the banking sector. We all follow that closely. So best of luck with that, sir, and thank you for a very insightful speech. You mentioned a quote by Jalaluddin Rumi. Incidentally, he's one of my favorite poets, scholars, and I'm sure a number of people here are also very familiar with him. In fact, we quote him and we use his, he speaks about the freedom of the soul, and you also mentioned a similar quote. He's also spoken about opportunity in adversity when he says the wound is the place where the light enters. So that is what finding opportunity in adversity is. In the midst of all the challenges is where you find the best and the most interesting opportunities, which we're all trying to do. So now, moving on to our next speaker. Before I do that, I'd like to remind you to please keep putting up posts on social media. Use the hashtag Pakistan Business Summit. I'd also again like to acknowledge all the online participants and audiences that have joined us. Thank you very much for being here. We now move on to a very well-known name in the private sector. He's a stalwart in the banking industry with a very rich international experience of more than 35 years in the global financial business. He was president and CEO of Pakistan's largest bank, HPL, from 2018 to 2024, right before he became Minister for Finance. Before he returned to Pakistan in 2018 to lead HPL, he was CEO of JP Morgan's Global Corporate Bank for the Asia Pacific region. He's held senior management positions at ABN AMRO, Royal Bank of Scotland, and Citibank in New York, Amsterdam, and Singapore. The minister has also served as Chairman Pakistan Banks Association, Chairman Pakistan Business Council, and Council member at the Institute of Bankers Pakistan. He was appointed Federal Minister for Finance and Revenue of Pakistan in March 2024. Sir, I would request you to please come and deliver your ministerial keynote.
Cabinet colleagues, parliamentarians, industry and banking leaders, distinguished delegates, a very good morning. Azfar, पहले तो मैं आपको और आपकी टीम को मुबारक देना चाहता हूँ because I've had the distinct pleasure and privilege of attending some of these summits in Karachi, in Islamabad. But the fact that you have gathered galaxy of stars and this type of audience here in Peshawar is a testament to your credibility and your experience in organizing these get-togethers. So, bahut mubarak ho aapko. I think it's the right thing to do, as has been said earlier as well. I was in Peshawar earlier this year. At that time, visiting Governor Kundi, went to the Secretariat to meet the ministers of the KPK government, and also had the pleasure of going to the Sarhad Chamber and very productive discussions and meetings there. I would want to touch on a few topics जो आज Muhammad Ali Saab ने अभी बातें की हैं, and I can show you we haven't compared notes, but you'll find similarity, which I think is fantastic, because when we talk about whole of the government, we don't need to necessarily talk to each other and compare notes, but we are all singing from the same hymn sheet in terms of where we are and, more importantly, where we are going to go as a country in conjunction with the businesses. तो मैं सिर्फ शुरू करना चाहता हूँ कि जो हम बहुत बात करते हैं around the macroeconomic stability, माशी इस्तेहकाम. And I just want to again reiterate, I don't want to go into the various indices because वो सब आप लोगों को मालूम है कि twin deficits कैसे surpluses में change हुए, the currency stability, the FX reserves, the inflation story, the policy rate, all of that. लेकिन इसका जो फ़ायदा industry, business and coming back to the common man, because हर वक्त ये बात होती है कि ये मुआशी इस्तेहकाम तो आ गया लेकिन इसका trickle down effect क्या है. So I just want to mention a few instances because कि ये कैसे economy को इसका फ़ायदा पहुंचता है. So in the first instance, obviously, with the policy rate coming down, the financing costs have come down, halved from where they were. जब हम FX reserves की बात करते हैं कि it's now after about 2.5 months of import cover, inshallah going to 3 months of import cover, which is a good international standard. तो उसका फिर फ़ायदा ये होता है कि जो local and more importantly investors like VEON, etc., then you can start talking about your dividend and profit repatriations, जो आपका trade का सारा दारोमदार है in terms of opening the letters of credit, getting your confirmation pricing in the right place. So this is what we have seen in the last sort of 18 months or so. The remittance flows. Because when the currency is stable, तो ये अभी जो इन्होंने अभी बात की है कि फॉर्मल इकॉनमी में कितना है और हुंडी हवाला में कितना है, तो आइडिया यही है कि सब कुछ हमने फॉर्मल इकॉनमी में लाना है. So $38 billion of remittances last year, and we just had an estimate done a couple of days back in terms of what is our expectation for this year. तो इंशाल्लाह अल्लाह ताला की मदद से और बाकी जो इस वक्त environment है, we expect in this fiscal year the remittances to go up to about anywhere between $41 to $43 billion, and that's a direct function of this macroeconomic stability and a stable currency rate. And the last thing I just want to mention, because in addition to the current account, the capital account, जो 30 सितंबर को हमने $500 million की यूरो बॉन्ड की रिपेमेंट की है. नॉन इवेंट, वरना 1 महीना पहले, 2 महीने पहले, 3 महीने पहले सेंसेशन आ जाती है, खबरें आ जानी शुरू हो जाती हैं, ये पे होगा नहीं होगा, कब होगा, होगा भी कि नहीं होगा, and no one talked about it. A total non-event. And inshallah जो हमारी next euro bond की repayment है $1.3 billion in April, we are well positioned for that as well. And that is all ये जो समरात हैं माशी इस्तेहकाम के, this is how it translates into getting the economy moving forward. To build on जो अभी मोहम्मद अली साहब ने सारी बातें की हैं in New York last week, तो वहाँ बड़ी बात हुई कि everything which is going on around the world at this point in time, right? So there are some raging wars, geopolitical tensions, rising protectionism, trade fragmentation, but despite that, you have a very resilient world economy. तो उसमें जो बातचीत हुई कि ये क्यों है कि इतनी चीज़ें चल रही हैं, so many moving parts, and still the world economy is going to deliver a better growth rate this year compared to last year. और उसमें जो 3-4 चीज़ें हैं, and these were all world practitioners and multilateral leaders, industry leaders, political leaders. So the 4 things which I got from those conversations, first of all, the role of the private sector. जो agility है, जो nimbleness है, especially the countries which are growing, is because of the role of the private sector. The second one is the countries which have been conducting the structural reforms. The third thing is countries getting their house in order and therefore self-reliance. And the fourth thing is increasing level of competitiveness as they go forward. तो मैं इन चीज़ों को again coming back to the topic at hand कि इन ये जो world economy और उसकी resilience है, how does Pakistan fit into that, and what is the role that we can play not only for ourselves but also contributing to the world economy. तो आई थिंक अगर हम बात शुरू करें कि जो द प्राइवेट सेक्टर का जो रोल है, आई थिंक मोहम्मद अली साहब ने बात की है, बट द प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैज़ बीन वेरी क्लियर कि द प्राइवेट सेक्टर हैज़ टू लीड दिस कंट्री. जो गवर्नमेंट का रोल है इज़ टू प्रोवाइड द इकोसिस्टम, provide the enabling environment, and then we need to get the heck out of it. और उसमें this is going to be a theme which is going to be very, very important as we go forward, and we are sort of delivering on that sort of at this point in time. अब इसमें जो मेन चीज़ जो समझने वाली है कि जो अगर हमने प्राइवेट सेक्टर को आगे लेके जाना है और जो इनेबलिंग एनवायरनमेंट प्रोवाइड करनी है, तो उसमें सिर्फ मैक्रो इकोनॉमिक स्टेबिलिटी की बात नहीं है. इट हैज़ टू बी कंकरेंटली अकम्पनीड विद द स्ट्रक्चरल रिफॉर्म एजेंडा. सो अभी जो टैक्सेशन की बात हुई है उसमें वी हैव टू ब्रिंग बैक द क्रेडिबिलिटी एंड द ट्रस्ट ऑफ द पीपल ऑफ पाकिस्तान इन आवर टैक्स अथॉरिटी. और उसमें जो इस वक्त रिफॉर्म एजेंडा है विच इज़ पीपल, प्रोसेस, टेक्नोलॉजी, आई थिंक इज़ गोइंग टू बी वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट as we take that forward. और इस वक्त जो हम करने की कोशिश भी कर रहे हैं, and I think we are making some good progress in that, is both deepening and the widening of the tax base. The other thing which is very important, और मैं पहले भी इसका जिक्र कर चुका हूँ कि जो टैक्स पॉलिसी वाला जो फंक्शन है वो अब FBR से निकल रहा है, एक्चुअली निकल चुका है. और FBR is now going to be very focused on the collection, whether it's income tax, sales tax, custom duty. और जो policy है is going to be driven by the tax policy office, which is going to report to the finance division. और इसकी वजह ये है कि we want to have the tax policy led by economic value consideration, not by how the math works. Because यही एक issue रहा है local investors का, foreign investors का, कि जो हमारी पॉलिसी कंसिस्टेंसी और लैक देयर ऑफ हैज़ बीन अ मेजर इशू इन टर्म्स ऑफ द इन्वेस्टमेंट क्लाइमेट हियर. तो क्योंकि जब हम ये बजट के सेशन में जाते हैं तो उसमें वी जस्ट ट्राई टू सी हाउ वी दीज आर एक्सपेंडिचर्स, उसमें हम और क्या कर सकते हैं, उसमें सुपर टैक्स की बात होती है और चीज़ों की बात होती है. बट गोइंग फॉरवर्ड this year's budget or next year's budget is going to be delivered by the tax policy office out of the finance division, which means it's going to be a regular consultative process with the industry and with the various forums, not a month or 2 months before when we get into the discussion जब बजट का वक्त जब आता है. उसमें फिर एनर्जी रिफॉर्म्स हैं, SOE रिफॉर्म्स हैं. उसमें मोहम्मद अली साहब ने बहुत important बात की है. इस वक्त there are 24 SOEs which we have handed over to the Privatisation Commission. Or I think this is going to be under his able leadership. Inshallah, you will see, जो मैं इनको बार-बार कहता रहता हूँ कि we need to get some runs on the scoreboard, because I think that's very critical, because we can continue to show our intention, but we, once inshallah you will see some of the transactions coming through, because then we can say as a government we are walking the talk. तो ये मैं स्ट्रक्चरल रिफॉर्म्स की बात करना चाहता था, बिकॉज जिन मुल्कों ने कंट्रीब्यूट किया है टू द वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमी, दैट्स प्लेड अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल. कंट्रीज गेटिंग देयर हाउस इन ऑर्डर, सेल्फ रिलायंस. इस पर मैं सिर्फ एक ये बात कहना चाहता हूँ कि पाकिस्तान में हमेशा ये बात हो रही है, इस साल के बजट में भी ये बात हुई कि देखें ये जो PSDP है फेडरल गवर्नमेंट का, ये तो 1 ट्रिलियन है. इसमें कैसे ये प्रोजेक्ट सारे लग सकते हैं, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर भी है, हेल्थ भी है, एजुकेशन भी है. But that's where we have to start looking at the entire country, not just the federal government, because devolved subjects हैं इसमें. तो इस साल का जो development budget है for Pakistan is 4.3 trillion rupees, a little less than a trillion at the federal level, और बाकी जो है वो सूबों के पास है. 4.3 trillion rupees, think about it. This is about 12 to 13 billion dollars. So we have enough to spend अगर हमारी प्रायोरिटाइजेशन ठीक हो कि हमने इनको कैसे लेकर जाना है, एंड द कोऑर्डिनेशन बिटवीन द फेडरेशन एंड द प्रोविंसेस. सो इट्स नॉट, और इसी तरह ये हेल्थ और एजुकेशन की बात होती है कि जी उसको कितना एलोकेट किया गया, कितना नहीं एलोकेट किया गया. तो मेरी आप सबसे ये रिक्वेस्ट होगी, जब आप बजट का डॉक्यूमेंट देखते हैं और जब आप बजट्स देखते हैं तो फेडरेशन और प्रोविंसेस को मिलाकर आप देखें. एंड ऑफ गोइंग फॉरवर्ड ऑब्वियसली वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट द एनएफसी एट द नेक्स्ट अवार्ड. But there's enough out there, and therefore this time around जब ये एक नागहानी आफत दोबारा आई with respect to the floods, both the Prime Minister and the Cabinet decided that हम immediately UN appeals में नहीं जाएंगे, because we have enough that can be repurposed in terms of rescue, relief, and when we get into rehabilitation and reconstruction, of course we'll see जब damage assessment आ जाती है कि इसमें और हमने किससे जाकर क्या मांगना है और किस वक्त मांगना है, and what type of pledges we need. Where as of now, जो इस वक्त whether it's पंजाब, whether it's KPK जहाँ हम बैठे हैं, जहाँ सिंध है, ये सारे सूबे जो हैं अपने इस वक्त उन्होंने जो रेस्क्यू और रिलीफ में किया है, I mean full marks to them and full kudos to them, and that is where self-reliance becomes very, very critical. The next thing is about increasing competitiveness, which I put it, और जब भी इसका टॉपिक भी है road to market. Where do we go from here? So इसमें जो बात होती है export-led growth की, then the getting efficient FDI coming in, which is obviously to cater to our local population, but also which produces exportable surplus, and then the international capital markets. तो इसमें सिर्फ ये कहना चाहता हूँ, जहाँ एक्सपोर्ट लेड ग्रोथ की बात है उसमें हमारे 3 इश्यूज़ रहे हैं. उसमें हाई फाइनेंसिंग कॉस्ट, हाई टैक्सेशन, हाई एनर्जी. वी रियलाइज दैट, वी एक्नॉलेज दैट. ऑन द फाइनेंसिंग साइड वी हैव मूव्ड ऑन द राइट डायरेक्शन, एंड होपफुली इंशाल्लाह we continue to move as the policy rate hopefully I mean it's very much the domain of the central bank and the monetary policy committee, but I think there's enough cushion if we can continue to push the policy rate south over during the course of this fiscal year, और उसका direct impact जो है Khyber पे और उसकी financing पे आएगा. जो high energy है, I think Minister Lagari and Minister Ali Parvez, they are working very hard. Mohammad Ali साहब का इसमें बहुत important role रहा है as co-chair of the task force in bringing and helping some of the power tariffs sort of coming down. High taxation जो है, we admit that. And I think it is important that we start rationalizing as we go forward. And the only way we can rationalize is people start paying what's due. Otherwise, we will keep on going back to the same for more, which is not sustainable. और we appreciate that, और वो हम इसको इंशाल्लाह आगे लेके चलेंगे. इसी तरह जो एक्सपोर्ट लेड ग्रोथ में जो इस दफ़ा टैरिफ रिफॉर्म हुई है, और इसमें बहुत डिस्कशन हुई. It's a very bold reform agenda which we have sort of rolled out in July 1. इसमें 2 schools of thought थे. One school of thought was कि जी ये तो बिल्कुल आपकी import which will go haywire. It will also impact our sort of balance of payments. And the other school of thought saying this is an East Asia moment for Pakistan. So we have gone ahead with the reform agenda in terms of bringing our custom duties, additional custom duties and regulatory duties down, ताकि जो raw materials or intermediate goods हैं उनमें हम reduction लेकर आएं, and we help the export industry sort of to move forward. Asfar, I'm sorry it says time's up, but I'll just take 2-3 more minutes before I conclude. FDI, और इसमें देखिए जो this is very, very important, and I would put it in the context of some of the visits that we have had with the Prime Minister over the last 3 to 4 weeks. We were in Beijing, we were in Riyadh, we were in New York, and obviously he and the Field Marshal were in Washington. So these are all very, very important markets for us, very important bilateral partners for us who have helped us with the fund program. But more importantly, going forward, is the trade and investment flow, which we expect, because ये जैसे Prime Minister कहते हैं, not aid but now trade and investment. So अब उसमें the ball is in our court in all of these locations. लेकिन ये मैं आपको बता सकता हूँ कि we are moving in the right direction. बीजिंग में जब हम थे तो इससे पिछले साल जब हम गए थे तो in Shenzhen, when we had the business conference, the mood was very different. This year when we were in Beijing, these were not MOUs which were signed, there were 24 joint venture agreements which were signed, which I think is very, very important because that makes it tangible. Because हमारे पास अच्छे examples हैं of joint ventures with China, Service Long March being one of those, जहाँ ये truck tire manufacturing joint venture है, or 80% of that stuff is being exported, and they might be one of the first ventures to actually list on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. So I think इसी तरह अभी Ahsan इकबाल साहब गए हुए थे on the back of the Beijing visit, CPEC Phase 2.0, which is very much in the B2B space as well. जहाँ तक US का ताल्लुक है, I do think we have landed well on a relative basis in terms of the tariff which been negotiated with Ambassador Greer and Secretary Lutnick, and now sort of the investment flows in the avenues which are very much in the minerals and mining space, and AI and IT and agriculture, pharma, etc. और लास्ट चीज़ मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि जो रोड टू मार्केट है, बिकॉज वेयर डू वी गो फ्रॉम हेयर, बिकॉज हमारी इस वक्त रिलायंस है मल्टीलैटरल्स पे और बायलैटरल्स पे. तो नाउ वी हैव टू गो बैक इनटू द इंटरनेशनल कैपिटल मार्केट्स, एंड सो इंशाल्लाह before the year is out, we expect we'll have the inaugural Panda bond issued. उसका first print होगा. We have accessed US dollar market, we have accessed euro market, we have done Islamic sukuks, but we haven't tapped the second largest and second deepest capital market in the world, which is China. So inshallah वो होगा, और as the rating agencies continue to take us forward, ये इस साल पहली दफ़ा हुआ है कि the three rating agencies are now actually aligned. As you know, S&P and Fitch upgraded us in the first half of this year, and then Moody's upgraded us in the last quarter, and I think that's इससे हम जो अपने अगले साल के जो issues हैं, commercial bank borrowing and the international capital markets with respect to going back into US dollar and euro, वो इंशाल्लाह हम करेंगे. So ये इस बड़ा actively हम काम कर रहे हैं in terms of road to market, और उस road to market में जो privatization का और मोहम्मद अली साहब का जो रोल होगा, वो is going to be absolutely critical as we move forward. The last thing I just want to mention कि मैंने अभी सारी बातें की हैं, लेकिन I would be remiss if I don't talk about जो हमारे दो existential challenges हैं, क्योंकि ये सब अच्छी बातें हैं, where we are, where we are going in terms of the economic recovery and road to market. लेकिन अगर हमने अपने potential को actually realize करना है, जो World Bank की report कहती है कि 2047 में, when we as a country inshallah we get to be 100, can this be a $3 trillion economy? And where we stand today, we are $411 billion. अगर उस पोटेंशियल को रियलाइज करना है तो दो एग्जिस्टेंशियल इश्यूज जो हमारे हैं, वन डीलिंग विद क्लाइमेट चेंज एंड द अदर इज पॉपुलेशन. अनलेस वी नेगोशिएट दीज चैलेंजेस वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू गेट देयर. वो मिनिस्टर ऑफ क्लाइमेट चेंज आज डॉक्टर मुसद्दिक साहब आज नहीं आए हैं. क्लाइमेट चेंज इज़ नॉट समथिंग विच इज़ एकेडमिक, इज़ नॉट ओनली एडेप्टेशन, वी आर लिविंग इट डे इन एंड डे आउट. 2022 की फ्लडिंग और इस साल के जो फ्लड्स आए हैं वो एक रिवर से 3 रिवर्स में गए. उसमें there were less than 50 lives that we lost. This time around, unfortunately, we lost close to about 1,000 lives. As we speak, और कल ahsan इकबाल साहब के साथ ये मीटिंग हुई है, we are doing the damage assessment as we go forward. So इस वक्त हमारे पास ये गुंजाइश मौजूद नहीं है कि हम कहें कि पहले हम इकोनॉमिक रिकवरी कर लें, हम इसको सारा कुछ अपनी इकोनॉमी को ठीक कर लें, and then we start addressing these issues. These have real implications for our people, for livelihoods, for our economy as we go forward, and therefore the sense of urgency. And unfortunately, Dr. Saab aaj nahi hai, wo aapko batate कि how the 300-day plan, the Prime Minister Saab ne kaha, is going to come in, and from the Ministry of Finance, and that's where we are working as whole of the government, where we are going to help support, assist Ministry of Climate Change any way we can, and similarly to the Ministry of Health on the population side as well, because देखिए population का सिर्फ ये बात नहीं है कि 2.5% से grow हो रही है हमारी population. It has real issues with respect to child stunting, right? Agar 40% of our children under the age of 5 are stunted, that's the future leadership of Pakistan. And similarly, learning poverty, abhi baat hui, the productivity of our women workforce, but usme jo learning poverty hai, especially girls out of school. We cannot as a country move forward if we don't address these two issues. And we are very focused ke while I've talked about everything ke jo humne short term to medium term karna hai, if we have to get in terms of a direction of travel for the country to also negotiate these two existential issues as we go forward. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your patient hearing. Azfar, thank you for the invite. Bye.
Thank you very much, Aurangzeb Saab. Always a pleasure to hear you. I think one thing which you said is resonating with all taxpayers, particularly because this is that time of the year where everyone's submitting their tax returns, widening the tax base. The second thing that has been mentioned by both our honorable ministers was consistency of policy. I think the entire private sector that's sitting here recognizes this challenge and battles with it every day. We're also the private sector. We also battle with it. This would definitely be among the top 5, if not the top 2 concerns of every organization. So we will take 2 questions. Sorry, because of time limitation, we're not going to be able to go beyond 2. We have the microphones here in the hall. Please state your name, and I would request you to come directly to the question and not give a lengthy preamble. So the first question.
I welcome all the distinguished guests sitting here to Peshawar, the city where I was born and where I went to school. और बीबी आपके लिए ये है कि वी पठान हमें अंग्रेज कहते थे, we are Pashtuns. So please correct that.
Thank you. Thank you for the correction.
Alhamdulillah, for the finance minister, ये कहते हैं ना ज़मीन बड़ी सरखेज़ है. And the gas and the energy and the oil that we are giving you. But apart from that, I'm proud to say that it was the Saifullah family who created Mobilink and who created the Lucky Cement Group. They are today the 2 biggest, maybe in the top 5 in Pakistan, alhamdulillah. अब जनाबे वाला आपसे एक गुजारिश, आपने ठीक बात की. You see, our plan is till the next election. I am a politician. I have been many times a minister here, minister in the federal government. But we plan for the next election. Countries don't plan for 4 years or 3 years. You have to plan for 50 years. When I met Chairman Deng Xiaoping in China in 1985 with Mr. Junejo, he gave us a plan of 50 years. यहाँ पर जी हम 3 साल का मंसूबा बनाते हैं, 2 साल का जी अगले इलेक्शन हम कैसे जीते. So for God's sake, remedy this, make a plan for the next 50 years. Where we are going, 50 साल का मंसूबा बनाए. और मेरा सूबा जो है उसके हालात इतने अच्छे नहीं हैं. हनीफ साहब फरमा रहे हैं कि शहर भी बड़ा खूबसूरत है. आप ज़रा कभी ले जाएं अपना शहर इनको दिखाएं. Peshawar used to be the Paris of the East. खूबसूरत शहर होता था, हम यहाँ पैदा हुए बड़े हुए. आज आप शहर की हालत देखें कि क्या हालत है. So please support KP. People are hardworking. They're generating a lot of revenues. But federal government की तरफ से हमें वो support नहीं मिल रही है जो हमें मिलनी चाहिए.
My name is Mohsin Aziz. सबसे पहले तो मैं आई वुड कंग्रेचुलेट असफर साहब, नटशेल के and Atif Saab for bringing all these people, all this bouquet from the country to my share of flowers. This city used to be known as City of Flowers, this city used to be known as City of Culture. Gilani साहब, आपको भी पेशावर आने पे आपका शुक्रिया. I was just mentioning कि this effort from Asfar Saab and Atif Saab will really play a long role, a leading role in again जो है इस शहर को, इस सूबे को आबाद करने के लिए. परसेप्शन यहाँ पे ये है कि जी हम यहाँ पे बहुत लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सिचुएशन है लेकिन ऐसी भी नहीं है. वी स्टिल सर्वाइव हेयर, आई एम लिविंग हेयर, माई फैमिली इज़ लिविंग हेयर, वी आर स्टिल वर्किंग हेयर और माशाल्लाह एक्सपैंड भी कर रहे हैं. मैनी हैव लेफ्ट बट मैनी हैव देन कम बैक ऑल्सो. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल तो मेरा ये क्वेश्चन नहीं है बट आई जस्ट टू कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट ऑल ऑफ यू फॉर ब्रिंगिंग ऑल ऑफ अस टुगेदर टू दिस प्लेटफॉर्म टुडे. एंड दूसरी बात सिर्फ ये है कि जी जब इस तरह के फोरम्स होते हैं, इस तरह की समिट्स होती हैं, तो व्हाट इट ब्रिंग्स इनटू इट सीक्रेटली या बगैर बताए वो ये होता है कि कॉन्फिडेंस आता है. अब यहाँ पे जब बैंक्स आएंगे हमें देखेंगे तो इंशाल्लाह द टाइम इज़ नॉट फार अवे जब वो सोचेंगे कि इस सूबे को भी हमने ज़्यादा डेवलप करना है, हमने ज़्यादा यहाँ पे फंडिंग करनी है, हमने ज़्यादा यहाँ पे रिसोर्स प्रोवाइड करना है, जो कि एक वक्त में पहले हुआ करता था. अब थोड़ा सा बिकॉज ऑफ द लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सिचुएशन इट इज़ सेड तो यहाँ से थोड़ा पुल बैक कर दिया एंड बेसिकली बिकॉज ऑफ प्राइवेट बैंक की सोच थोड़ी सी डिफरेंट है. सो आई थिंक विद दिस इज़ अ न्यू स्टार्ट and I expect more to come in, and I again congratulate you for doing all this, and I also thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our chief guest, His Excellency Syed Yusuf Gilani, Acting President, Islamic Republic of Pakistan and Chairman Senate of Pakistan. So thank you for joining us. We'd also like to welcome the Governor Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Faisal Karim Kundi Saab. We will now continue as planned. The next address will be by the guest of honor, who is the Governor of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. He is a distinguished politician who's currently serving as the 35th Governor of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa since May 2024. As Governor, the areas which are very close to his heart and the projects and initiatives that he has been working on include promotion of accessible governance, women empowerment, youth development, sports and religious tourism. He has previously served as Prime Minister's Special Assistant on Poverty Alleviation and Social Safety and as the Central Secretary Information of the Pakistan People's Party. He continues to serve as a member of the Central Executive Committee and the Foreign Liaison Committee. He was elected to the 13th National Assembly of Pakistan in the general elections held in February 2008. Subsequently, he was elected as the 17th Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly in 2008, making him the youngest Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly of Pakistan. Throughout his career, he has represented Pakistan in international forums, diplomatic engagements. He has worked on infrastructure development, educational reforms, and philanthropic initiatives. Another area which is close to his heart is improvement in the lives of marginalized communities. Currently, the Honorable Governor serves as President, Pakistan Red Crescent Society, KPK, and he's been actively engaged in relief operations across the flood-affected areas. He also is serving as the President of Pakistan Boy Scouts Association. With this, I'd like to request the Honorable Governor to please share his views.
Honorable Acting President of Pakistan, Yusuf Gilani Saab, Chairman Senate, Aurangzeb Saab, Finance Minister, Muhammad Ali Saab, Minister for Privatisation, honorable members, guests sitting on the stage, honorable parliamentarians, guests from different sectors of life, especially अभी फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर साहब ने कहा कि हमारे बैंकर्स यहाँ पर जो है वो बैठे हुए हैं और सबसे ज़्यादा मैं शुक्रिया अदा करूँगा और वेलकम करूँगा असफर हसन साहब को, मेरे भाई, मैं तमाम जो बाहर से गेस्ट आए हुए हैं उनको मैं पेशावर और खैबर पख्तूनख्वा आमद पर खुश आमदेद कहता हूँ। स्टेज सेक्रेटरी के साथ मैं एक करेक्शन कर रहा था, मैं कभी नॉट KPK, ऑलवेज वी से KPK, इट्स KP, आइदर खैबर पख्तूनख्वा और KP। असफर साहब, मैं आपका बहुत मशकूर हूँ अपनी तरफ से और अपनी बिज़नेस कम्युनिटी खैबर पख्तूनख्वा की तरफ से, खैबर पख्तूनख्वा की आवाम की तरफ से, कि आपने एक कदम उठाया और आप बारिश का पहला कतरा, क्योंकि आप हमने बहुत से फोरम्स पे जब हम जाते हैं कराची, इस्लामाबाद, लाहौर, और वो रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं कि आप पेशावर भी आएँ, कोई इतना हम बुरे लोग नहीं और हम इतने भी लॉ सिचुएशन इतनी ख़राब नहीं है कि आप लोग पेशावर ना आ सकें। तो आज आपने पहला कदम उठाया, हम आपको यहाँ पर और आपकी टीम को खुश आमदेद भी कहते हैं और इंशाल्लाह आपको देखते हुए बाकी हमारे फोरम्स भी यहाँ पर आएंगे। और मैं ख़ासकर बाहर से आए हुए मेहमानों को भी यहाँ पर खुश आमदेद कहता हूँ। यहाँ पर जो है वो बहुत सी बातें हुई होंगी और मेरे सीनियर्स यहाँ पे, अभी सेंटर साहब मेरे यहाँ से पहले जो स्पीच कर रहे थे, यहाँ पर खैबर पख्तूनख्वा के हवाले से आपके ऊपर इसके साथ बातचीत हुई होगी और मैं इस मौके का फ़ायदा उठाते हुए खैबर पख्तूनख्वा के हवाले से कोई बातचीत करूँगा अपने दोस्तों के साथ जो यहाँ बाहर से आए हैं। हम उनको खैबर पख्तूनख्वा में वेलकम करते हैं, हम उनको वेलकम करेंगे। हालात इतने भी ख़राब नहीं है खैबर पख्तूनख्वा के जहाँ पर हम कहें कि इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं हो सकती, बिज़नेस नहीं हो सकता या कोई चीज़ नहीं हो सकती। हमारी पूरी अवलीन इस पर कोशिश है कि हम यहाँ पर वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट पर काम करें, यूथ एंगेजमेंट पे हमारी काम शुरू है। हम बिज़नेस कम्युनिटी के साथ बड़ा क्लोजली जो है उस पर काम कर रहे हैं। खैबर पख्तूनख्वा के पास बहुत से वसाइल हैं। अगर आप टूरिज़म से शुरू करें तो दुनिया की सबसे पुरानी सिविलाइजेशन खैबर पख्तूनख्वा में इस वक्त मौजूद है। हम टूरिज़म पे बहुत ज़्यादा काम कर सकते हैं। हम लोग यूरोपियन कंट्रीज़ और बाहर पता नहीं कहाँ जाते हैं, लेकिन अपने मुल्क में हमारे पास जो टूरिज़म मौजूद है, अगर हम उसको सही प्रॉपरली हम उसको मैनेज करें तो मैं समझता हूँ कि हमें बाहर जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, बल्कि लोग यहाँ पर खैबर पख्तूनख्वा पर आएंगे। रिलीजियस टूरिज़म की अगर बात करें तो रिलीजियस टूरिज़म हमारे पास इतनी ज़्यादा मौजूद है कि उसमें एक ही चीज़ है, तमाम जिन चीज़ों का मैं जिक्र करूँगा कि वो सबसे टॉप प्रायोरिटी होती है जब भी कोई आता है, कि हमें पीस की बात होती है कि अमन अमान। ठीक है, हालात ख़राब हैं, उसके ऊपर पूरी कोशिश है कि हम हालात को ठीक कर सकें और उसकी तरफ जो है वो जा रहे हैं। और इंशाल्लाह जब यहाँ पर अमन होगा तो यहाँ पर हमारे बिज़नेस कम्युनिटी भी आएगी, यहाँ पर जो है हमारे टूरिज़म भी होगी, चीज़ें भी होंगी। अगर आप बाकी चीज़ों में देखें, अगर आप पेट्रोलियम की बात करें, अगर आज हम 90,000 बैरल तेल पैदा कर रहे हैं पाकिस्तान, तो 50,000 बैरल खैबर पख्तूनख्वा दे रहा है। गैस की बात करें, सबसे सस्ती बिजली जो है वो खैबर पख्तूनख्वा जो है वो हाइडल पे इस मुल्क को दे रहा है। तो बहुत सी ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जिस पे अगर आप देखें कि खैबर पख्तूनख्वा में इस वक्त भी जो है, अगर आप देखें तेल और गैस के ज़ख़ायर अभी भी रिसेंटली भी निकले हैं। मेरे सीनियर बैठे हुए सलीम सैफुल्ला साहब, इनके इलाके में भी रिसेंटली नॉर्थ वज़ीरिस्तान के बॉर्डर के ऊपर ही नए जो है अभी डेर इस्माइल ख़ान में भी हमारे मर्ज डिस्ट्रिक्स में इस किस्म के हालात हैं। लेकिन उसमें जो है हमें, जो मैंने बात की है कि पीस की बात, अगर पीस होगा तो चीज़ें सब कुछ जो है वो चीज़ ठीक होंगी। हमने एक तजर्बा भी किया यहाँ पर, क्योंकि फेडरेशन से भी गिलानी साहब बैठे हुए, हमने एक तजर्बा किया मर्जर ऑफ खैबर पख्तूनख्वा। हमने फाटा को तो मर्ज कर दिया, सब कुछ कर दिया और हमने एक कमिटमेंट की थी हमने अपने मर्ज डिस्ट्रिक्ट के लोगों के साथ कि हम आपको ये मौका फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर साहब का भी था कि हम उनको 100 अरब रुपए सालाना तरक्याती फ़ंड्स देंगे। मर्जर हो गया, लेकिन वो 100 अरब रुपए सालाना हम उनको जो है वो तरक्याती कामों के हवाले से नहीं दे सके, बल्कि हमारे मर्ज डिस्ट्रिक्ट के जो लोग हैं वो वफाक और सूबे के दरमियान फ़ुटबॉल बने। सूबा कहता है हमें पैसे नहीं मिल रहे, वफाक कहता है हम इतने पैसे दे दिए, लेकिन 50% ऑफ वो भी मेरे ख़्याल में कि उनको नहीं मिल रहा था और नहीं मिल रहा है। और उसको तकरीबन अभी 8 साल हो चुके हैं। हम इनका इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलप नहीं कर सके, वहाँ पर हम सिविलियन सुपरमेसी कायम जो हो सकता था वो नहीं कर सके, डेवलपमेंट नहीं हो सकी, हम उनकी यूथ के साथ एंगेजमेंट नहीं कर सके। और यहाँ पर मैं बताता चलूँ कि पूरे पाकिस्तान में सबसे ज़्यादा यूथ जो है उस वक्त खैबर पख्तूनख्वा में मौजूद है, तो हमने उनकी यूथ की एंगेजमेंट वहाँ पर उनके साथ नहीं कर सके। तो बहुत सी ऐसी चीज़ें हैं कि अभी भी फाटा की जो, और फिर उसके बाद एक सरताज अजीज़ कमीशन आया और उन्होंने कहा कि हम आपको 3% ऑफ NFC अवार्ड मर्ज डिस्ट्रिक्ट को देंगे। तो हम 100 अरब को अगर बात करें तो 3%, तो इस वक्त हम 200 से 250 अरब की बात कर रहे हैं कि वो हमें मिलना चाहिए था। लेकिन हम वो 100 अरब पे भी अगर कह दें कि हम उस पर भी शुक्र करें तो वो भी पूरा जो है हमारे जो मर्ज डिस्ट्रिक्ट के लोगों के वो नहीं मिला। फिर दूसरी बात ये होती है कि जब वो आता भी है फ़ंड, फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल सूबे में आता है तो सूबे को कुछ ज़रूरियात होती हैं तो वो शायद वो फ़ंड किसी और मद में भी खर्च होते हैं, स्पेसिफिकली उन अकाउंट्स में होता है कि आप इसको मर्ज डिस्ट्रिक्ट में खर्च करेंगे तो आगे पीछे खर्च हो जाता है। तो इस चीज़ को भी हमें जो है वो एड्रेस करना पड़ेगा। और अभी मैं समझता हूँ कि NFC अवार्ड की भी प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब ने यहाँ पे कमिट किया था, फ्लड की वजह से जो है वो थोड़ा डिले हो गया है। क्योंकि अभी हम अगर बात करें खैबर पख्तूनख्वा 75,000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर की, तो अभी हम मर्जर के बाद हमारी जो है वो हम 1 लाख स्क्वायर किलोमीटर में शायद हम पहुँच चुके हैं। और साथ साथ हमारी आबादी सरकारी तौर पर जो सेंसस हुए उसमें 55 लाख ज़्यादा बढ़ गई है, लेकिन हम समझते हैं कि ज़्यादा है, लेकिन फिर भी 55 लाख है। तो NFC अवार्ड की भी अच्छी ज़रूरत है। हमारे बहुत से और भी इश्यूज़ वफाक के साथ चलते रहते हैं, जो हमारे रॉयल्टी है या बाकी चीज़ें हैं उसके ऊपर भी हमारी बातचीत होती है। तो मैं यहाँ पे ये मौके का फ़ायदा उठा के हुए हमारे पास यहाँ पर जो बिज़नेस कम्युनिटी आई है कि हमारे पास यहाँ पर बैंक के सरबराह आए हैं, फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर साहब ने कहा इनको बिठा दें। हमारी तरफ बिठाने का तो और मकसद होता है, हम तो ऐसे ही बदनाम है खैबर पख्तूनख्वा वाले तो उसमें यह है कि हम आपको वेलकम करते हैं, आप आएँ। खैबर पख्तूनख्वा एक बड़ी ज़रख़ेज़ ज़मीन है, बड़े ज़रख़ेज़ और बड़े अच्छे यहाँ पे जहन मौजूद हैं, बिज़नेस कम्युनिटी यहाँ पर मौजूद है। उनके साथ हमें चाहिए कि हम मिलकर हम काम करें और हम एक पुरअमन सूबा, एक खुशहाल और तरक्की याफ्ता सूबा बनाएं। क्योंकि अगर हम ये कहें कि जी हम फ़लाँ सूबे को तरक्की याफ्ता बना लेंगे और बाकी रह जाएंगे, तो सब ने इकट्ठे चलना है। जिस तरह हम बात करते हैं कि अगर हमारे खुशकिस्मती या बदकिस्मती है कि हमारे पड़ोस में इस वक्त जो है वो अफ़गानिस्तान के पड़ोस में हम बैठे हुए हैं और हर चंद सालों बाद कोई सुपर पावर उठता है और अफ़गानिस्तान को जो है वो फ़तह करने की कोशिश करता है, और जब वो वापस जाते हैं उनका जो असली की सूरत में गन छोड़ कर जाते हैं वो हमारे ऊपर ही इस्तेमाल होता है। और आज भी अगर आप देखें कि वो मिलिटेंसी जो इस वक्त इस सूबे में है तो वही है कि उन मिलिटेंट्स के पास नाइट विजन भी है, थर्मल्स भी हैं, स्नाइपर्स भी हैं, जो कि शायद हमारी पुलिस के पास वो चीज़ें नहीं हैं, लेकिन फिर भी हमारी पूरी कोशिश होती है, हमारी पुलिस के नौजवान या ऑफिसर उनका मुकाबला कर रहे हैं, फ़ौज मुकाबला कर रही है, शहादतें हो रही हैं। अमन के सफ़र के लिए हम सब मिलकर जो हम एक जा रहे हैं ताकि हम इस सूबे में अमन ला सकें। लेकिन फिर भी पड़ोसी अच्छे हों या बुरे हों उनके साथ गुजारा करना पड़ रहा है। लिहाजा हम चाहते हैं कि हमारे अच्छे ताल्लुकात हो अफ़गानिस्तान के साथ, वहाँ से मिलिटेंसी कम हो। और अच्छी बात है कि हमारे डिप्टी प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब 2-3 दफ़ा वहाँ पे विज़िट करके हैं, इंटीरियर मिनिस्टर गए हैं हमारे, उनके साथ बातचीत होनी चाहिए और उनको समझाना चाहिए कि उनकी सरजमीन जो है वो दुश्मनों के हाथों में ना हो और पाकिस्तान के ख़िलाफ़ इस्तेमाल ना हो। क्योंकि सबसे बेहतरीन चीज़ मैं समझता हूँ कि इस वक्त जो है वो हमारे अफ़गानिस्तान के साथ डायलॉग्स और अमन की बात है। तो हम चाहते हैं कि हमारे पड़ोस में भी अमन हो, इस रीजन में भी अमन हो। और आप देखें कि माजी में हम अगर बात करें, हम अफ़गानिस्तान के ज़रिए सेंट्रल एशिया गए, यूरोप गए, तो ये हमारा एक रूट है, हमारा एक रास्ता है जिसमें हम अपना बिज़नेस कर सकते हैं। तो मैं आखिर में आप तमाम दोस्तों का शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ, आपको वेलकम करता हूँ। और ख़ासकर मैं दोबारा असफर हसन साहब को और मैं यूसुफ गिलानी साहब का जो हमारे एक्टिंग प्रेसिडेंट हैं उनके भी बहुत ज़्यादा मशकूर हूँ कि उन्होंने टाइम निकाला, और उन तमाम दोस्तों का जो मुख्तलिफ़ सूबों से, मुख्तलिफ़ इलाक़ों से हैं। और आपने एक मैं समझता हूँ कि हमारे लिए सफ़ारतकारी की, आपने दुनिया को एक रास्ता बताया कि पेशावर जो है एक पुरअमन और तरक्की याफ्ता जो है वो सुबह। थैंक यू वेरी मच, शुक्रिया।
बहुत शुक्रिया सर कुंडी साहब, एंड थैंक यू फॉर करेक्टिंग मी. As they say, one lives and one learns. So I've learned that it's KP and not KPK. And thank you, Salim Saifullah Sab sir, for also correcting me that you're Pashtuns and not Pakhtuns. अगले पाकिस्तान बिजनेस समिट तक जो इंशाल्लाह अगले साल पेशावर में करेंगे, I hope to be error free by then. So with this, we now come to the last address of the inaugural session, which is by our chief guest, His Excellency Syed Yusuf Raza Gilani. He's currently the acting President, Islamic Republic of Pakistan, in addition to being the chairman of the Senate of Pakistan. He's a very familiar name. We've all grown up seeing and witnessing his political career that spans over 4 decades. He has been part of one of the leading political parties of the country, Pakistan's People Party, since 1988. He was Speaker of the National Assembly from 1993 to 97. He served as Pakistan's 22nd Prime Minister from 2008 to 2012. He was the leader of opposition in the Senate of Pakistan from 2021 to 24. And in April 24, he became Chairman of the Senate of Pakistan. Gilani Saab also graced us with his presence at our summit, Leaders in Islamabad Business Summit, at the dinner, which happened in April. So, sir, you're also familiar with the format and the philosophy of these conferences. With this, sir, I would request you to please share your views with us. Ladies and gentlemen, the chief guest.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Faisal Karim Kundi Saab, Governor Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Honorable Ministers, dear colleagues, distinguished delegates from the Overseas Investors Chamber of Commerce and Industry, esteemed business leaders and global experts, Assalamu alaikum and warm greetings. It is a privilege to address this important summit here in Pakistan, Peshawar. It is a city whose history as a key trade hub along the ancient Silk Road runs deep. This symbolic distinction reminds us to this region has always been a place of exchange, energy, and forward movement. I feel deeply honored to share this stage with the Honorable Governor of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. His gracious patronage of this summit is a testament to our shared belief in the enormous economic potential of this region and its people. I would also like to commend the efforts of Nutshell Conference Group, the Overseas Investors Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and all contributing partners who have made this important gathering possible. Our theme today, Shaping What's Next, questions us to what kind of future do we want to build together. It urges us to have a futuristic approach to a prosperous tomorrow based on innovation, partnership, and sustainability. Across Pakistan, right from vibrant tech startups and digital centers to business incubation centers, BICs, within our higher education institutions, HEIs. The change is already in motion. Technology is reshaping how we live and work. It is revolutionizing agriculture, health, and education. This transformation is opening new doors and of possibilities of business and communities alike. Ladies and gentlemen, with opportunity comes responsibility. Climate change is not just a future threat. It's already affecting our daily lives. So how do we respond? Business that embrace clean energy and green practices won't just protect our planet, they will gain a lasting competitive edge. Pakistan's growing focus on sustainable investments shows we are moving in the right direction. This focus on sustainability is matched by improvements in our business environment. Our registration process and simpler, intellectual property rights stronger, and investor services more efficient. Special economic zones and upgraded infrastructures are connecting us to global markets. The Special Investment Facilitation Council, SIFC, is playing a praiseworthy role in facilitating investors by creating a conducive environment. These steps make Pakistan an increasingly attractive destination for both local and foreign investment. Ladies and gentlemen, I am also pleased to note that Pakistan's economic indicators are showing positive signs. Financial stability is returning. Inflation is easing and business confidence is improving. The Parliament and the government remain committed to providing a conducive environment for growth and investment. Looking ahead, this momentum must lead to economic diversification and value addition. Agriculture, which supports millions of livelihoods, needs to evolve beyond raw exports to integrated processing, value addition, and supply chains. Similarly, our textile industry can climb global value chains of adopting cleaner technology and smart designs. And our mineral-rich regions offer responsible mining opportunities, balancing growth with environmental care. Preparing our workforce is just as important. Young Pakistanis want flexible jobs with meaning and opportunity. Expanding digital skills and vocational training, especially in smaller cities, can unlock these possibilities. This will slow urban migration and particularly empower women entrepreneurs, strengthening our social fabric. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's strategic location remains one of the greatest assets. Connectivity projects stretching from Peshawar to Gwadar are more than trade routes. They are pathways for ideas, innovations, and regional cooperation. With the Honorable Governor, ministers, all partners gathered here today, the task is clear. All of us, the government, the parliament, multinational companies, local startups, investors must play a part in shaping Pakistan's future. By embracing innovation, sustainability, and partnership, we can build an economy that is resilient, inclusive, and ready to meet tomorrow's challenges. Let this summit be the moment we step forward with confidence, leaving hesitation behind and choosing unity and action. The future of Pakistan economy is in our hands. Together, we have the talent, the vision, and the will to build a future that is strong, lasting, and truly ours. Honorable Governor has mentioned 3 areas: youth, tourism, and war on terrorism. I want to explain. पाकिस्तान की जो आबादी है, पॉपुलेशन, 60% जो पॉपुलेशन है, इट कंसिस्ट ऑफ यूथ, और उसमें ख़वातीन भी और हमारे बेटे भी शामिल हैं. तो 60% of youth is nowhere in the world. We have to channelize, we have to utilize उनका टैलेंट, और इनको हमने आगे लेकर चलना है. यहाँ बहुत से इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट दोस्त भी हैं, बैंकर्स भी हैं, पॉलिटिशियंस भी हैं, मिनिस्टर्स भी हैं. उनको कोई स्ट्रेटजाइज करना चाहिए, इन यूथ को चैनलाइज कैसे किया जा सकता है. जो मुझे दुनिया से लोग मिलते हैं या सुफरा मुझे मिलते हैं, वो एक ही बात करते हैं, वी नीड स्किल्ड वर्कर्स. अब स्किल्ड वर्कर्स के लिए आप खाली FA BA काम नहीं आएगा. उसके लिए दे शुड हैव सेमी स्किल्ड और स्किल्ड वर्कर्स वो लेने के लिए तैयार हैं. उनके पास गुंजाइश है कि आपकी यूथ को वो अकोमोडेट कर सकते हैं. और सिर्फ IT भी नहीं कि सिर्फ एक ही तरफ से चला जाए. यहाँ पाकिस्तान में एक ट्रेंड है, वो ट्रेंड है कि जो एक भीड़ में जा रहा है सब उसी में चले जाए. तो इसलिए उसको आप स्ट्रेटेजाइज करें और उनके लिए आप सजेशंस दें. और जब यहाँ से उठें तो आपको मालूम होना चाहिए कि यूथ के लिए आपके पास क्या तजावीज़ हैं, ताकि आप सूबाई हुकूमतों को और वफाकी हुकूमत को सजेस्ट करें. ये एक सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट चैलेंज है. दूसरा, टूरिज़म. बचपन में मैं टूरिज़म का वज़ीर था, फेडरल मिनिस्टर था, मैं पेशावर आया था, और उस वक्त टूरिज़म नीड्स ओनली 2 थिंग्स, सिक्योरिटी एंड लिबर्टी. तो जब आप उनको सिक्योरिटी नहीं फराहम करेंगे और लिबर्टी नहीं देंगे, टूरिज़म आगे नहीं चलेगा. तो उसके लिए मलाम जब्बा में सबसे पहला मैंने सेटअप किया वो चेयर लिफ्ट और होटल बनाया. फिर जब आपको मालूम होगा, फिर जब तालिबान की एक्सेस वहाँ तक हुई तो दे स्टार्ट लिविंग देमसेल्व्स. और अब नया बना है. अब फिर मुझे इनवाइट किया गया कि आप वही पुराना अपना मंसूबा देखने आए. तो वो इंशाल्लाह मैं जाऊंगा. वो सैमसन वाले बना रहे हैं. तो टूरिज़म इससे बेहतर KPK से बड़ी जगह और नहीं है. और इतना टूरिज़म है कि मैं भूटान गया तो वहाँ भी वो कहते थे कि जो बुद्धिस्ट्स हैं उनके जो यहाँ स्टैचूज़ हैं वो सबसे ज़्यादा स्वात में, और वहाँ वो पिलग्रिमेज हो सकती है, टूरिज़म पिलग्रिमेज, वो यहाँ आने के लिए तैयार है. तो इसलिए वो भी उनको फराहम किया जाए, उनको मौक़े फराहम किए जाए. वॉर ऑन टेररिज़म की बात की एज अ प्राइम मिनिस्टर, तो हमने यहाँ जो जिरगा है यहाँ और जो रवायात हैं यहाँ, वो पहले हम उनसे जिरगा करते हैं, उनसे गुफ्तो शुनीद करते हैं और उनको कैल करते हैं और उनसे मुआहदा करते हैं. जब हमने मुआहदा वगैरह कर लिया, दे बैक्ड आउट फ्रॉम देयर ओन कमिटमेंट. जब अपनी कमिटमेंट से कोई हट जाए तो फिर हमें एक्सट्रीम मेजर लेना पड़ता है. तो देन वी डिक्लेयर्ड कि वॉर अगेंस्ट टेररिज्म एंड एक्सट्रीमिज़म, और उसके लिए पूरी दुनिया ने मेरा साथ दिया. तमाम दुनिया के ममालिक ने हमें सपोर्ट किया और मैं ख़ुद यहाँ एक एक जगह जाता था और उनके साथ इंटरनली डिस्प्लेस्ड पर्सन्स जो हैं उनकी तादाद 2.5 मिलियन थी और 2.5 मिलियन लोगों को फिर आबाद करना जुडिशियस तरीके से अपने घरों में, दैट वाज नॉट अ जोक। और हमने दुनिया के साथ मिलकर, इंटरनेशनल डोनर्स के साथ मिलके, इंटरनेशनल मीडिया के साथ मिलके हम एक एक जगह गए और हम उन जो मुतासरीन थे, इंटरनली डिस्प्लेस्ड थे, वेयर आई वॉज नॉट अलाउड टू go on those places, I used to have इफ्तारी with them. मुझे कहते थे सनसेट के बाद सिक्योरिटी नहीं है, तो मैंने कहा ये बेचारे ये भी तो बैठे हैं। तो फिर हम उनके साथ खाना रोज़ा इफ्तार करते थे और पूरी दुनिया देखती थी। और इट इज़ अनप्रेसिडेंटेड इन द हिस्ट्री ऑफ द वर्ल्ड, जहाँ आप 2.5 मिलियन लोगों को आबाद करें इन लेस देन 90 डेज, अनप्रेसिडेंट वी डिड। और उसके बाद आपने देखा कि यहाँ एक बच्ची थी, मलाला यूसुफ, शी ट्राइड टू गेट अ पीस अवार्ड। शी वॉज एट द एज ऑफ 14, 14 साल की बच्ची। She was rejected by the world. उन्होंने उसको नहीं इनाम दिया, नोबल उनको अवार्ड नहीं दिया। I called her in my office along with her parents और मैंने उसको पीस अवार्ड दिया for encouraging girl students to study। तो वो जब मैंने उनको दिया तो 3 साल के बाद the whole world recognized Malala, जिसको मैंने अवार्ड दिया था, and she became a Nobel laureate। उसको अवार्ड मिला and I was amongst her guest list। गेस्ट लिस्ट में मैं था और उस गेस्ट लिस्ट में ऑस्लो मैंने जाना था। I had 2 options, whether I side with Taliban or I side with the world. I sided with the world. Though my own son was kidnapped and he was in the custody of Taliban in Afghanistan, but I preferred to ignore my son and I went to Oslo to show the world we want peace, we want prosperity, we want progress. Similarly, आपको याद होगा कि हमने जब सोवियत यूनियन ने काबुल पे अटैक किया तो 35 लाख जो वहाँ से लोग डिसलोकेट हुए वो पाकिस्तान में महाजर बन गए, आज भी कैंपों में हैं। उनका पता नहीं कि उनका बेडरूम अफगानिस्तान में है या उनका बाथरूम किस और मुल्क में है। द वर्ल्ड हैज़ फॉरगॉटन अबाउट दैट। उनको याद ही नहीं है कि वंस अपॉन अ टाइम ये लोग हमारे पास आए थे। तो वी आर लुकिंग आफ्टर दैम। वी वांट independent, sovereign, prosperous, flourishing and independent Afghanistan. It is in the interest of Pakistan to have a stable, sovereign Afghanistan. क्योंकि अगर अफगानिस्तान में जो आज कुछ होगा कल इस्लामाबाद में, क्योंकि वी आर ट्विन ब्रदर्स, हम जुड़वा भाई हैं, neighborly, religiously, culturally, and with all the old values, historically, we are twin brothers. What happens in Afghanistan happens in Pakistan. I appreciate that the big powers दे सेट टुगेदर और उन्होंने कहा है कि अफगानिस्तान की सॉइल शुड नॉट बी यूज्ड अगेंस्ट पाकिस्तान एंड आई विल अर्ज देम they should implement what has been decided so that their soil should not be used against Pakistan. अगर इस पे मुआहदा हमारा हालांकि हमारा वहाँ सफ़ीर नहीं था, हमने दोबारा सफ़ीर भेजा है, हमारी कोई विजिट्स नहीं था, हमारे डेप्टी प्राइम मिनिस्टर एंड फॉरेन मिनिस्टर इवेंट दिया। अब उनके साथ चाइना के साथ भी अच्छे ताल्लुकात, रशिया के साथ भी अच्छे ताल्लुकात, ईरान के साथ भी अच्छे ताल्लुकात, पाकिस्तान अच्छे ताल्लुकात चाहता है, मगर नॉट एट द कॉस्ट ऑफ आवर ओन पीपल। चूँकि हमारी जो फ़ौज है, हमारे जो भाई हैं, फ़ौज हो, पुलिस हो, लेवीज़ हो, FC हो, सिविलियंस हो, उन्हें बेतहाशा कुर्बानियाँ दी हैं और उन्होंने अपना आज कुर्बान करके आपका कल सिक्योर किया है। इसलिए मैं ये कहूँगा कि आप उनकी कुर्बानियाँ, डेली कुर्बानियाँ हो रही हैं, तो इसलिए वी वांट पीस एंड स्टेबिलिटी इन द कंट्री। तो उस सिलसिले में आज जो आप ब्रेन यहाँ मौजूद हैं, आप ब्रेन स्टॉर्मिंग करें और आप कोशिश करें कि आप इसका कोई सलूशन निकालें। क्योंकि मैं जब हिंदुस्तान के, इंडिया के प्राइम मिनिस्टर से मुलाकात कर रहा था, तो उन्होंने मुझे, मेरे साथ तमाम पार्टीज़ थी इंक्लूडिंग अपोजिशन, सब थे शर्म शेख में, और मैं उनसे मुज़ाकरात कर रहा था और मैं अंदर उनको एक और कमरे में ले गया। मैंने कहा कि वी शुड नॉट मेक होस्टेज बिलियंस ऑफ पीपल, होस्टेज टू तालिबान और टेररिस्ट। हमारे मुल्क में कई इंसिडेंट हो चुके हैं टेररिज्म। आवर ओन लीडर, शी वॉज असैसिनेटेड, मोहतरमा बेनज़ीर भुट्टो शहीद। इसलिए वी वांट टू मूव फॉरवर्ड, de-link Mumbai from talks, and we should resume talks. And he agreed. बल्कि इस हद तक था कि जो मैंने जॉइंट कम्युनिके बनाया, उसने ब्लाइंडली उसको एक्सेप्ट किया और उसने कहा कि मिस्टर गिलानी इज़ अ मैन ऑफ पीस, therefore we de-link Mumbai from talks, we resume talks, और उसके अलावा हम ये भी चाहते हैं all core issues to be discussed, including Sir Creek, Siachen, terrorism and Kashmir. And I also got added in that joint statement that they should stop interfering in Balochistan. And he agreed. He agreed. And there is a movie, there is a film on our talks, और उसके ऊपर क्या था, The Accidental Prime Minister. The Accidental Prime Minister was Dr. मनमोहन सिंह. वो मुझे कहते थे कि हमारा सिर्फ आपसे ताल्लुक़ नहीं है, हमारा ताल्लुक़ आपसे रूहानी है, क्योंकि हमारे गोल्डन टेम्पल की संग बुनियाद हज़रत मियाँ मीर गिलानी जो लाहौर में थे, सेंट, उन्होंने रखी थी। Therefore we can't say no to you since you come from that family. इसलिए वो मूवी बनी एक्सीडेंटल प्राइम मिनिस्टर, उस पे जो उन्होंने करैक्टर बनाए, कोई फिल्म स्टार मेरे ऊपर बनाया, कोई मनमोहन सिंह के ऊपर बनाया, और वो चलते हुए मुझे पूल साइड पे डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह ने कहा कि वो जरदारी साहब ने तो कहा था, प्रेसिडेंट साहब, वी आर सेंडिंग DG ISI कि वो मुंबई के इंसिडेंट पे आपसे बात करें, वो तो नहीं आए। तो जो मेरी ओरिजिनल बात थी वो ये नहीं थी। तो उन्होंने ये बात फिल्म ने बनाई जो कि बैन है पाकिस्तान में। उन्होंने बनाई और उन्होंने कहा बलूचिस्तान। तो उसने मुझे कहा वहाँ तो कुछ भी नहीं हो रहा, आप बलूचिस्तान की बात क्या कर रहे हैं। तो उन्होंने उसको एग्जैजरेट किया, हैव टू प्लीज़ माई आर्मी, उनके लिए आप कह दें। उसने अगर आप कहते हैं तो हम कह देते हैं। और वो उन्होंने फिर मेरे जॉइंट कम्युनिके में उन्होंने जो असल बात थी वो ये थी कि मैंने कहा कि आप डीलिंग करें, वो मान गए। और वो फिर शर्म शेख से बाहर, जहाँ हमारी प्रेस टॉक्स थी उससे बाहर मीडिया के सामने नहीं आए, क्योंकि हंगामा हो गया। उसने कहा कि ये जो मैंने बात आपसे मानी है, अपनी पार्टी को तो मैं मनवा लूँगा, मगर ऑपोजिशन मुझे बहुत तंग करेगी। और उस मूवी में उन्होंने दिखाया कि सोनिया गांधी कह रहे इट इज़ अनएक्सेप्टेबल। देन ऑन द फ्लोर ऑफ द हाउस he whatever was debated, he wanted to express in that floor of the house. उस पे उन्होंने फ्लोर ऑफ द हाउस, उन्हें मेरे ऑफिस को फ़ोन किया कि जो शेर मैंने कहा और जो शेर गिलानी साहब ने जवाब दिया वो मैं पार्लियामेंट वहाँ लोकसभा को सुनाना चाहता हूँ। उन्होंने मुझे, यहाँ बहुत सारे दोस्त बैठे हैं, मुझे एक मिसरा भी याद रहा है, वो अल्लामा इकबाल का था, लम्हों ने ख़ता की सदियों ने सज़ा पाई। ही नरेटेड दिस कि ऐसे भी एक अदवार देखे हैं तारीख़ों में, लम्हों ने ख़ता की सदियों ने सज़ा पाई। तो मुझे कहा कि अब जवाब दें शेर में। तो मैंने कहा कुछ अपनों ने कुछ गैरों ने सहारा ना दिया। लग़्ज़िश की ज़रूरत थी संभलने के लिए। हम गलतियां करके ख़ुद सीख गए, मगर हमें किसी ने सहारा नहीं दिया। तो इसलिए मैं चाहूँगा कि आपसे बहुत गलतियां हो चुकी हैं, अब गलती की गुंजाइश नहीं है। तो आप, अल्लाह ताला ने आपको चांस दिया है। आप दुनिया में आफ्टर द पाकिस्तान इंडिया वॉर आपने नाम पैदा किया। नाउ यू आर रिस्पेक्टेड इन द वर्ल्ड। तो कल जो ये हुआ है क्रिकेट मैच, वो जीत के हार गए, आप हार के भी जीत गए। तो इसलिए वी शुड लर्न फ्रॉम आवर एक्सपीरियंस एंड वी शुड मेक आवर कंट्री स्ट्रॉन्गर, वी शुड स्टेबलाइज। एंड एंड में मैं यही कहूँगा, as Prime Minister, my motto was, women and minority, they are my constituents. And I still believe that. Thank you very much. Pakistan, Zindabad.